What is your perspective on our film industry?
Making films is so difficult. I think that we're doing really well. And when you think of in the last 3 years or 4 years, there's always a Canadian film that's nominated for the Oscars. And also they're in Cannes and competition, and they're in all the major film festivals. And they actually, some of them, not all, have a really good theatrical release, which is so pleasing. I wish there were many more films that were Canadian that were out. I mean, when you think of 1,500 films a year that are made in India, but the population is also 1 billion. And I think what's happening, what's great, is that now, Canadian films were sort of about two solitudes. They had to be either in English or in French, or the stories had to be inherently about English or Western subjects or Francophone subjects. And I think as we are realizing the impact of multiculturalism on our society, a lot of the films reflect the cultures of the people who came here. So you can have a Chinese story or you can have an Indian story and yet it be Canadian.
Now, I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about the Canadian film industry in general. So, what happened when you told your parents that you wanted to get into this industry? Were they like, my God, how are you going to make a living?
Well, trying to explain to my parents that I wanted to get into film was definitely difficult because they're Italian immigrants who've been working very, very hard from the moment they were born, and came here. And my older sister one's an engineer, another one's a lawyer, and very established, distinguished careers. And there, I wanted to go into film. So it was tough. It was tough. But after my first film, which was all in Italian, and it was a comedy, it made them laugh and made their friends laugh. And then the question started turning from, why are you in this business to, when are you going to make the next one?
Of course, there's always the challenge of celebrating Canadian films in Canada because we, have such a looming big brother in the United States. What can we be doing more as a country to kind of keep our talent here and appreciate it more?
I think it's just keep nurturing it. Keep nurturing the talent. There is so much talent here in Canada, and I go back and forth from Toronto, Los Angeles, and there's just keep giving the opportunities and taking risks on young talent, because it's the ones that you feel like you're taking the risks on is the ones that are really going to pay off dividends.
Tell me about making films on the East Coast.
In terms of local product, it's the Atlantic region telefilm funded films, also lower budget, and now there's micro budget films going on. So crews have had to adapt, and there's some growing pains there because people are working for less money, and are very supportive of local people. But it's it's a new environment. I think it's a new climate for everybody in the industry. To grapple with the fact that the budgets are shrinking, but that year that we made our film, there was a number of local films. So, yeah, there's a fair amount of local activity.
More kind of grassroots and doing it because you love it.
It's becoming more that way now, yeah.